Game 1, Evil Geniuses takes control of their fate and manages to put together a win that lasted, it took almost an hour, I should say, as Fnatic managed to outlast early attempts by EG, but coming up a bit short there. Game 2, Fnatic bounced back with a creative draft involving Slarter and Invoker in particular. A couple of Midas pickups, even one on the Weaver. Still very, very strong mid-game, gave him a 30-minute win. And now, our final series of our final group stage here in the D2L Season 4, going to end with a final Game 3 and EG gasping for air, trying to get inside the bubble and make their way into our playoffs. The only way they're going to do it, a Game 3 win. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers, joined by Ben Merlini-Wu once again. I'll tell you, this has been one of the best series we've seen the entire tournament so far, Ben. Fnatic and EG both fighting hard. And, again, you know, Fnatic certainly has pride to play for, but no matter what, they're already in the playoffs. And if EG wins, they'll still face off against Fnatic, even though Fnatic will be leapfrogged in the seeding. There's really no difference between 4 and 5 and practical terms regarding how our bubble race playoffs is going to end up playing out. But EG playing hard and playing fast, and they're going to go ahead and go back to what got them the win in Game 1, snatching that first pick bounty hunter.
Start from them. Nature's probably would have been pretty fine for them too, and Fnatic going with what worked for them in Game 1. That's a Timbersaw. Timbersaw did very, very well in that previous game. Trixie playing him and just getting massively farmed in, contributing a lot to that early game fight. So I like both teams' drafts so far. Nothing unusual.
Well, the Visage pickup to go with Timber, a very solid core, and of course Fogged going to get his Crystal Maiden once again. And Fogged has played CM in all 3 games and played quite well at that. And it's really just become one of his heroes. And, you know, if there's one thing Fogged is excellent at, I can remember leading up to TI 2013, he played Jakiro, something like 70 to 80% of his games for a stretch when he played for Dignitas. And he is just great at that, just saying, you know what, guys, I have a hero pool that's pretty wide. If you want to specialize in one, I'm happy to play that hero over and over and over again. And he's certainly done that with Crystal Maiden here, post 6.79 as EG snatches that hero for him very, very quickly in most games. And taking a look at the bans, getting rid of Hani's Invoker, getting rid of the IO as well. Fnatic, one of the few teams that reliably runs the IO still yet, just gives any opposition one more thing to think about. They are going to get Era's Lifestealer, though. I really like that pickup from Fnatic. That's a hero. I mean, we've seen Era kind of playing some different carries. He played Mirana in Game 1, played Weaver in Game 2. Lifestealer, though, he's probably the best LS in the West, or at least in that conversation. So they're going to be well in their comfort zone now.
Yeah, I think the Lifesteal pickup is really good for them. Evil Geniuses needs at least one anti-Lifestealer thing, whether it just be a lot of physical damage, maybe from like Slardar or Ursa or something like that, maybe some lockdown in the form of Bane or someone that gets an early Orchid, or I don't know, so just someone that can kite him like a Weaver for themselves, but they will actually ban out the Weaver.
Well, the Storm Spirit is yet to be banned if they want to go in that direction. Fnatic has actually banned the Puck themselves as well as the Bats, so this might be a good chance for EG to go ahead and grab that away, because that's an option for Fnatic as well if they want to have a reliable carrier for the Lifestealer for Nyx Bombs. Nope, they're going to go ahead and grab the Naga. Now, the Naga is an interesting pickup. As you mentioned, they needed one anti-Nyx hero. They're going to get that with the Naga Siren. Her and Snare, of course, going through Magic Immunity. But just as importantly, Timbersaw able to get the jump on you. Lifestealer, if he's able to infest into any kind of a hero and get the jump on you. Naga's going to be there with Song of the Siren to reset the fight. And that's actually really interesting when you see it paired with a Bounty Hunter. Bounty tends to like to start fights or to, at the very least, get single-target pickoff. So they're going to have the best of both worlds right now. We're yet to see their mid or their carry, though. So MSS and Fear both waiting on heroes.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, they do. They need a lot from MSS though. Just they didn't get anything from them out of the second game as a Night Stalker. They got like a couple kills here and there, but it would have been the same with like any other hero. So like by the time he was able to do anything to Weaver already had Lincolns, and Night Stalker just can't compete with that sort of farm. So they need to draft a little bit better for MSS. Just a hero that has higher impact than a Night Stalker in a split push lineup. They could go with the Storm for Fnatic. That's very problematic for EG.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The Naga Siren pick I like, but if I had to pick one or the other to have as a part of this composition, against Fnatic's composition. I would have much rather have taken the Storm for MSS. We've seen he was hit and miss on it, but when he's on, he's on. So he can play a very nice Storm Spirit. But allowing Fnatic to snatch that pick away from them when they had a chance to take it could end up being something they regret quite a bit. Again, Naga's Siren Song of the Siren will be able to nullify some of the advantage a Storm gives you so long as she's in position. But this is going to be a lineup with the Timber, his high mobility, Visage with his range, the Lifestealer now with a reliable Nyx Bomb Carrier and the Storm Spirit. This is going to be a lineup that can team fight effectively or dissect you effectively if they want to play that kind of a game. So Fnatic, I really like their draft so far. We're yet to see what EG is going to snatch up for mid and for their carry, but as well-rounded as EG is, I feel like if Bounty Hunter, if basically they're going to be relying on Universe to get active and have a lot of success early, otherwise I feel like this Fnatic team could snowball out of control very, very quickly.
Yeah, CM and Naga Siren just aren't that good versus Visage +1. And especially Visage Lifestealer +1. Yeah, they can like prevent Lifestealer from killing people here and there, but they're not going to be able to limit his farm, and they're not going to be able to kill him, which is going to be just a big problem for them come later in the game, especially with the rate at what era farms. He gets like phase armlet drums in like 12 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, maybe like 13, 14 usually, and going with the Mirana for themselves, which is something that we haven't seen too often from them. I don't know if it's a solo mid, but probably not. I see Fear playing it.
The Mirana pickup,
10 seconds remaining.
it's easy to see why. I mean, you have a Bounty Hunter, so you want to run an early gank lineup, a lineup that can move around and get things done early on. She has a number of great abilities to hit her Sacred Arrow off of. Ensnare is probably the best, the single best ability to guarantee a Sacred Arrow connects. It goes through Magic Immunity, reveals Invis, and so on and so forth. Crystal Maiden with Frostbite, another nice ability to chain together. And the slows, of course, from Janata and from Crystal Maiden's Nova make it easy to hit arrows as well. But we've seen it time and time again. I hope that's a mid Mirana. If it's not, I'm going to be quite a bit worried. Just because a farming Mirana that has to basically decide, do I run with my team and make things happen, or do I focus on farm because I'm really the only late game DPS that we have to rely on? That's going to be a problematic choice EG has to make. And we're going to see the Lich pick up from Fnatic. So Lich gives them some nice lane control. This is going to be a squad that can really pick and choose how they want to play. If they want to keep the status quo going early and extend the laning phase, they'll have the option to do that. Or they could start to move around a lot more. So there's the Pugna pickup, and we'll see who ends up on who. Could be a farming Pugna, as we've seen Era use that to great effect. It will be a mid Pugna as MSS selects him.
I kind of like the Pugna pickup from them. It doesn't really give them that much like control in fights, but it does give them the push potential and the early fight potential. It's not the greatest pick, just because he is very susceptible to the burst down from Lifestealer, and like they don't really have that much to protect. Yeah, sure, you can ensnare, but he's still going to be able to right click. You can Song of Siren, but he's still going to be raged. You can defensive decrepify, but only after Electric Vortex. So like the Storm Spirit Lifestealer combo is just going to be very, very difficult for evil geniuses to stop. And the Mirana pickup, I mean, who are you going to hit an arrow on? Like Lifestealer is the one that's going to be up in front, and if you go on anyone else, he can just like rage tank it, or anyone else can tank it for that matter. So and then they have like the slight minus armor from Naga Siren, not really synergizing with anything. The Decrep from Pugna, but really not that much magic damage coming out from them either. Not that much magic burst rather. So yeah, EG's draft is definitely not as good as Fnatic's this game.
I agree with you. You mentioned defensive Decrepify. That's going to be a risky proposition in and of itself. There's a lot of magic damage Fnatic's going to be able to pour out. And to be honest with you, what I think we're going to see is kind of an all-in approach to this game. Fnatic just flat out has the advantage moving. As the later the game goes, the much bigger an advantage they're going to have with the Timbersaw and the Lifestealer in particular. Storm, also a phenomenal hero who does scale very well into the late game so long as his items come out at a proper clip, so long as he's making that progress. Orchid, BKB, and then Scythe of Ice or whatever else he wants to pick up. That's generally the progression you see. While EG's has a time limit, having a Bounty Hunter play, I mean, in Universe played a phenomenal Bounty Hunter in Game 1. You're going to have Jo on the support Naga. She's only going to feel so relevant for so long. And Fear on the Mirana just takes so long for this hero to really catch up. And even then...
Unless they get a lot of kills early.
Right.
Like, they can bring the fight to Fnatic.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was driving at, is EG is going to have to just start 5-manning very, very soon. Much like we saw Fnatic do in Game 2, actually. I mean, Fnatic just said the hell with it and started to fight his 5 and took every tower off the map within about 20 minutes. So EG likely to take a similar approach here. We got both teams heading towards the same piece of real estate. That's the top corner of this map, the dire side jungle. And let's see if they want to fight. JO's out front looking for an ensnare. Not going to be able to find one. Era turns and repositions. Fear now up in front. Gets off one auto attack, doing a fair amount of damage.
Victory for EG.
Exactly. Trading
30
heavily
seconds
to the
to
advantage
battle.
of Evil Geniuses here at level 1. Looks like everyone is going to go ahead and allow cooler heads to prevail as Fnatic is bailing out back towards the bottom lane. So we'll go ahead and run through our lineup, see who's handling who. Jo on the Naga, as we said, will be Fog back on the Crystal Maiden and Fear here on our Mirana. Now going to go ahead and poke his nose out.
Yeah. Era made... Ooh, nope, they're not going on him.
Yep. Fear trading a little bit of auto attack damage, and happy to continue to do so, and throws down a pretty aggressive ward as well, as they will be aggressively tri-laning this. And yeah, he's just doesn't care. Says, you know what, I haven't placed scope point yet. I can arrow you, I can leap away. I got whatever I need. But anyway, finishing out the lineup. Pugna will be played by MSS, as mentioned, here in mid. And it will be a solo safe lane universe, so he's going to look to be off to a great start. On the other side of the river, we got Fly, currently sitting in mid with Hani. We'll see how long this is going to last. Hani, of course, on our Storm Spirit, and Fly on the Lich. The Life Stealer, as we've seen, one of Era's specialities. And he'll look to have another repeat performance of what we've seen him do in D2L so far on this hero, which is have a lot of success. Timbersaw will be played by Trixie once again, and he's going to be one-on-one with Universe. Very important matchup that Trixie won last time in Game 1. And Hani, as mentioned, here on our Storm Spirit. Early laning phase, who do you give the advantage to, Ben?
Fnatic's draft better, and I think that they're gonna pretty much dominate EG in the laning phase too, especially with Fly sitting in mid, and Lifestealer pretty much not being able to die on top. Like, he can just rage TP for the most part if he wants to get an early TP scroll, and if they set up with the A and Ensnare, there's no way they're gonna be able to kill him. I mean, he's gonna be zoned out, but he can farm up quite quickly in the meantime, and No Tail is still there in case they do tower dive him. On the bottom lane, we see Universe versus Trixie. Trixie, this is the same matchup that we saw in the first game, and Trixie got off to a fantastic start. So I don't imagine Universe is going to be able to kill him or even LCS him.
Yep. What really made Universe's Game 1 was the successful rotation at the top and some good trades that came immediately afterwards. Right now, Fear is dominating in terms of CS over Era. Era doesn't have a single CS under his belt.
There's a rotation on bottom.
Way too scared to come forward. Jo has headed to bottom, so going to try to hold Trixie down. This top lane is just going remarkably well. Era just unable to reliably do anything but soak experience. He's just level 2 as well, so already about half a level behind Fear's Mirana. And yeah, this is not the start you want. 0-0 for Era, 2 minutes in. You don't want to be missing out on this early gold.
Yeah, but we still see Hani getting a lot out of middle, though, and they have very good rune control, too, with both range heroes checking the lanes. Jo, in the meantime, I think it's a very smart idea for him to go on bottom, too, because, they're just not going to be able to kill Era on top, so there's not really any point in having 3 heroes up there. Having 2 heroes up there is nice because they can just constantly right-click him, but Naga Saturn can't really right-click him, and they can't kill him. So just get some experience on bottom, get that level 6 ASAP so you can set up for some fights. Getting farm up on Mojo is going to be really important too. He needs as much farm as possible and levels, but the 2 heroes in mid are out-leveling him right now, and that's just what Lich does.
Fear and Fog able to drag the creep wave over, so it's going to be some more free CS for Fear. I'm really interested to see how Fear decides to build here. He's got a Blades of Attack up, so should be on his way to a set of phase boots. No real surprise there. Fog just going to babysit Fear, it would seem, and Fog didn't even start with a smoke this time, so probably not looking to move around a whole lot. Bounty Hunter is halfway between 4 and 5 right now, so he's making good progress. Trixie's sitting pretty as well. Trixie's actually a little bit behind in experience to Universe at the moment. Universe sitting in 11 CS to Trixie's 15. I feel like this bottom lane's going about as well as EG could have hoped.
Yeah, with the creep pull, that definitely helps out for them. And this is something that we did not see in the first game, so looks like EG able to adapt according to the situation, which is always a good thing for them. Universe, yeah, getting out CS by Trixie, that's to be expected. Level 2 reactive armor, as well as Whirling Death already for him.
Hani certainly winning big here in mid lane. He's at 17 CS to the 8 of Mojo Stormstown, and MSS trying to get whatever he can. He's about a little bit above level 4, and yeah, I mean, it's, again, I just think that's what we're going to see out of EG is a very similar game plan to what Fnatic showed us in game 2. get out, fight early, and just try to take good trades, especially on the back of Bounty Hunter track gold. They really need that, if for nothing else, no other reason than trying to make up in levels for MSS. He needs to be involved in fights early. He's going to be slow to 6 to begin with.
And here Frost Nova go out, but just not too much going on this early game, and I think that definitely plays to Fnatic's favor because EG kind of has the pressure with their not so good late game in the Mirana. Mojo may give up first blood
and drop the ward. That'll be enough to keep Hani thinking twice about it. Would have eaten a lot of damage, and he will go ahead and bring it down. But haste rune expires, so
Hani might steal the stack too. That's going to be really big for him.
And up at top, let's see. Thought that we were going to see some action there. Hani actually uses the Invis rune that he had just bottled up. He's got an eye on MSS again, and might go on him again. He's got full health, though. He did salve up, sitting right on top of him. And there you go. Vortexing him out. He's got him down to half health. Here comes the Centaur. Actually did a little bit of damage, slowed him down. Doesn't have level 6. The ward's there, and there's going to be a TP coming in. That's going to be Universe. Wants to punish Hani. There's the track. He is level 6, and Hani's in trouble. Doesn't have a single bottle charge. And here comes Jo. So Hani ends up giving up first blood off a very nice rotation out of Universe. That's what you want. Not just the first blood, but that's a first blood that's a track kill and
they get
involved
Visage.
Universe.
They get a Visage kill on top too.
Very nice.
Looks like just a frostbite into an arrow, and that was with an observer ward out there too by Fnatic. So I mean, Fnatic, they did have stronger lanes, but all they had to do was sit back and play passively. And Storm Spirit like just playing super aggressively. Yeah, sure, he did have a rune, but yeah, Mojo was playing very well, just playing very defensively, and good rotations out from EG again. And we see Universe with that early level 6. I mean, he was level 6 when Storm Spirit is level 4, and that's a really big deal. I mean, Hani was level 3 like 3 minutes in, a few minutes has elapsed, and he's not even gained a full level after that. So that is very problematic because they put this mid lane, this dual lane mid, just so Hani can get a lot of farm, pretty much uncontested. And now Mojo outlevels Hani. Hani not off to a very good start. He needs his treads up ASAP.
Well, the big story, two big stories really. The rotation of Jo down the bottom, the stack and pull and help Universe is what helped make all that possible and why he is such a quick 6 and why he did do so well in comparison to game 1 when he was in the same matchup. This top lane, though, Era is just anemic. He's sitting at just 15 CS, not even half of what Fear has been able to put together on this Mirana. And we can see he's got phase plus 1,300 gold on top of that. They have got to get him on track, and this is one reason we don't see the Lifestealer picked up nearly as often. A lot of mid-game action tends to take place in 6.79. Hold
Good stacking.
And there's the Chain Frost. Fog eats one. It's going to bounce on the Fear as well. Now Era's going to engage. That's a big win for them.
Wow.
Needed that.
That Chain Frost was huge by Flight. That was like way better than any Chain Frost JO cast last game.
Oh, yeah. They needed that desperately to help get Era back on track. But that's the problem with the Lifestealer pickup with teams being so active and the action tending to be so furious. Is if you can hold him down for the first 10 minutes or so, he has a hard time playing his way back in because items like phase, like drums, like armlet all start to come out late. Era, though, gets some help there. And we can see he actually did take that kill, so a nice infusion of gold for him.
They have very good wards out. Fnatic does. They have one on top and one on mid, just because they know the action's not going to be on bottom. They're not going to kill Timbersaw. They don't have anything to kill Timbersaw with, so he can just play as aggressively as he likes. It looks like he's almost looking for that chicken over there, and Jo may die here if he's a little bit out. He can't get hit by the shotgun. If he does, he's going to die.
There in mid, looked like we might have had some action as Universe was rotated over. A lot of warding, by the way. It's about to expire. They actually have 3 wards just in this range of the map.
Mojo may die here.
And MSS hanging back. Universe is hooked up at top. Era has Infest. He is level 6. Also has 2 points in the rage. Universe right at the edge of tower vision. And we'll see how they want to engage this if they do. There's the arrow. Shot taken off the mark. And they might go ahead and abandon that. Fnatic has 3 here in mid. Looks like they're expecting the rotation from Universe to hit mid, so already in position. Trixie thinking about dive at Jo. There's the Timber Chain under the tower. Chakram comes up a bit short. He's just going to TP away. And will be able to make it away. Damage isn't there, so a missed opportunity for Trixie at bottom.
Yeah, but Universe is wasting so much time right now. They know they need to get kills. They feel the pressure. They're only slightly ahead in gold right now, and that's bad. Like EG has to be way ahead in like the 10-15 minute mark of the game, especially with track gold hitting. And Hani just farming out very safely in mid. They need counter sentries. They need counter sentries over here. They need sentries over here just so Bounty Hunter can walk around and just do whatever he likes. And they know they have a sentry war. Universe just gets hit by creeps, and they know that they know what EG's game plan is, and they're just reacting very well to it. Like they're forced to use a glyph on a solo Timber Salt in the off lane.
Yep.
And that's just not what you want. And it looks like they are smoking up top. Fly does have Chain Frost off cooldown again.
Likely to be our first big engagement. Fog is in trouble. He's going to be run into by all of Fnatic. And Moonlight Shadow not going to get him to safety. Use Freezing Field to do what damage he could. Here comes the rest of EG. Nice Nether Blast gets Fly and the Ensnare to follow it up. And they bring him down as a track kill. Universe hanging around the edge. Arrow wants to re-engage on the MSS. Here comes the jump from Hani. Infest in and out. And that's going to be a double kill going the way of No-Tail, who hung around the back and just did what Visages do, which is be artillery. So they end up with a favorable trade there. However, it was a track kill that Fnatic gave up. So not that bad for EG so far. They're keeping the pressure on. We can see that's 3-1 on Visage, so No-Tail doing great so far. Fear is finding even more farm down at bottom, though. He's still atop the board at 59. Era has caught up at least a little bit, though, now up to 34.
Yeah, I mean, they need so much mileage out of Fear, though. I think he has to be there for the engagements. The problem is they don't have anyone to split push out lanes. They need people to fight. They also need people to push. EG spread really thin right now, and they just aren't finding any good opportunities. They need better Observer Wards of their own. Like, why did they have an Observer Ward down here? Like, or do they really need to just watch Trixie farm? Because they know the action is not going to be there. Fnatic's Wards are just much better. One in mid with the Sentry Ward, one on top with the Sentry Ward. Scat out where Bounty Hunter is, react accordingly, and see if any push is coming out, and then things should be okay, especially with Infest Bombs coming online. Drum's already out on Era, and this is like 11 minutes in. This is against a dual lane, or initially a triple lane, then a dual lane, and just two range heroes constantly right-clicking him, and he's caught up quite nicely. They're going for a kill attempt on Trixie, but they have to hit an arrow.
Trixie got to catch the Janana. There's a track out, and Fear looking for the arrow. Shuriken's there. He's going to spin the Timber Chain. Chakram goes down, and the Starfall enough to get the kill. Fly is there, as is Hani. Fog going to end up being blown up. Here comes the Song of the Siren, and Era raging through it, and the Ensnare to secure Fear's escape. He's actually going to spin the arrow and connect on it. And Jo actually,
really nice song.
Jo actually took a bit of a wonky path up, but yeah, very nice save on Fear, and he'll be able to scurry away to safety. In the meantime, MSS was getting some damage done on the tier 1 and mid, so all in all, not a bad exchange at all, especially since that was, once again, another track kill. Universe already beginning to pile them up again. They're going to go in. Universe has eyes on Era and Fly. Era eats the Janata and the Ensnare. There's the track on the Fly. Chain Frost will get a couple of bounces, but that's going to be it. Trixie is back up and ready to re-engage. Jo, open wounds, will get off the Riptide, not going to matter. Uses his wand charges. Fog's there with the Frostbite, but might end up dead. Gets off the Freezing Field on his own. Trixie's eating a lot of damage through it, but with no other response from EG. The support play from coming out there really just questionable. They basically just fed 2 kills for no good reason.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing out there, especially without a Song or a Siren up. They have to play defensively. And yeah, Bounty Hunter was back there, but yeah, they just can't kill any hero reasonably easily on their side, unless their support's out of position. But Fnatic has been really good about positioning with the Lich, with positioning with No-Tail. Only 2 deaths combined on them both. Compare that to the supports on EG, 5 deaths in between those two.
Well, you know, it just seemed like some poor communication. I mean, Fear was in no shape to fight to begin with. And we're going to have a smoke up from EG, and Fnatic just going to go ahead and try to 5-man bottom. The creeps are going to spot what's going on now. So EG knows exactly where most of the team is. Fear's going to head out. He's already got up a Blade of Alacrity, so it looks like he will be going with a Yasha build. I guess he could be going Diffusal if he wanted to.
I think he needs drums for his team.
Yep. The smoke attempt here from EG. They're going to TP Fear in. They need to make this work. Universe has eyes on Trixie. Arrow won't connect. There's the track Shuriken toss. He's going to be able to Timber Chain away. Here's the reinitiation. Era comes out of Hani, and they continue to jump through. The Pugna Ward doing good damage in the meantime. And only Visage down so far. Hani with that haste rune looking for another target. Wants to reinitiate. Fear at about half health. In the meantime, Lich manages to secure a kill. Look how low Trixie is. He's going to just try to TP away. Sacred Arrow off the mark. And a bit of an odd engagement there on both sides. Kind of a I
don't know why Fear just doesn't wait for the arrows. He hasn't been able to hit any of the ones that he casts without any setup. So after that, just go for a Frostbite into an arrow, go into a Decrep into an arrow, go into a Net into an arrow. They're not really getting anything out of the Mirana pickup. And there goes another arrow, but just whiffs.
Yep, splits the wickets. Down goes the Nether Ward. We'll see how hard they want to push. Everyone from Fnatic is back up. And EG's probably going to have to abandon this siege. I don't know, though. Again, this is kind of what we figured would happen. They have to fight. They can't really afford to just continue to not get a lot out of Bounty and out of Fear in particular. Here we go, reinitiation. Jo eats a lot of damage. Nice familiar stuns. Caught 3. And their Song of the Siren to bail them out. Arrow's going to rage through it, but will be ensnared. And Infest in and then out. And there's the Moonlight Shadow. Don't imagine they're going to want to fight off of that. And they will.
Now's the time to go in. If they have an arrow to set up, I mean, they're all like clumped up right now. If they have a Pugna Ward to drop,
here we go.
No.
Chakram out. The ward is out. They're going to try to reinitiate. Fnatic is very clumped up. Era ensnared in once again, unable to get any damage done.
Fear just gets picked off, though. He needs the HP. If he had the HP from Drums, he would have lived there. But they just need early game fighting. They're going to have Drums up on Bounty Hunter, but they just can't fight right now. They're behind on kills. They haven't been able to get any track kills recently. They only got 1 tower down. Things are looking really, really bad for EG. And just like a couple of team fights, if they get wiped, and they're pretty much gone. So they have to win this next fight.
Yep. MSS still about, unless it's on the courier, which it doesn't seem like it was. Nope, it's not. MSS not far from a mech, but it may come out just a bit too late. He needs about 500 more gold. Universe, as you mentioned, has his drums, but the recipe wasn't actually on the courier. They need track kills, and there's another blind arrow going to hit a creep. And Fog jumped upon way too far forward. Big positioning mistake. There's a Chain Frost that's going to do very nice damage. JO's cleaned up by it. Fnatic just washing over them. Lich did end up dropping, but got his damage done beforehand. There's the Timber Chain. They're going to chase down MSS. Era, open wounds on the Fear. Fear doesn't have Leap. He already used it. Doesn't have Moonlight Shadow either. They're going to get 4. Can they? Nope. Hani ran out of mana. Thought he had a bigger jump.
Track gold, too.
Yep.
Or track move speed, rather.
Yep. Thought,
yeah, they only got a Lich out of that process, and yeah, they're just falling further and further behind. This T1's gonna fall without any further contest. And EG, what do they really do right now? Can't farm with a Podum against a Storm and a Lifestealer. They can't push. They can't 5-man, and they don't have a good gank lineup either because Fear hasn't hit any arrows.
Yep. Universe is keeping an eye on things, trying to track down a familiar. Not going to be able to do so. Fnatic just really executing on all fronts right now, and I would say it's safe to assume this is now their game to control. EG's entire lineup's predicated on the idea of fighting early and being effective at it, and now letting Era back into the game. CS, he's, at 57 to the 75 of the Pana, but I have a feeling when we check the net worth, exactly, he's right on top of it. 3 of the top 4, all belonging to Fnatic at this point. And this is just not the position they can afford to be in. Like you said, EG probably has 1 or 2 big fights left in them. They can't afford to lose another one. They have to get more out of Universe. Universe so far has moved quite a lot.
It's not his fault. They have to get him more out of Fear. Universe has just been playing, like, he hasn't died yet, and they've had sentries everywhere.
Right.
And he's been there. He's been active. I think it's Fear that they need to get more out of, and MSS. MSS died twice. He's only gotten 1 tower right now. Not even met completed 17 minutes in. And, yeah, Fear, he hasn't hit any arrows.
Well, I think when I say they need to get more out of Fear, what I mean in particular is they need to get more out of what he's able to do. They just haven't really created a lot of situations where he can have track kills, where he can have that surgical success you want out of a bounty hunter. We could have another big fight on our hands as Fnatic is reacting en masse to this push from EG, and EG has to do this.
There's an Infest inside Hani, though. Someone was just going to get blown up. Probably Mojo.
Another arrow off the mark. And Hani, under cover of an invis, can go anywhere he wants. We're going to keep an eye on him. Let's see when and if he wants to engage. There's a ping out from the bounty saying there's Hani. Do they have a sentry down? They don't, actually.
Well, they did get a free tower.
Yep, that's not free yet.
Oh, Fly.
Yep, Fly caught out. There's the track. Going to get off the Chain Frost, and here comes Era and Hani. Able to get 1 quick burst of damage done. They're going to be forced to spin Song of the Siren. And able to finish off Jo. Mit's Song. Universe going to be hit with the Grave Chill. Sentry's down, and he's blown up. That's 4-0 in that exchange. And at this point, the lineup has just completely fell flat. EG has no way to deal with what Fnatic's composition can do, and they're running away with it. The gold grab doesn't tell the story. I mean, Mirana is just not going to catch up to Era. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, Temper Solar, Bloodstone. We have Orchid coming out very soon on Honey too, and just tower after tower after tower for Fnatic. I mean, tower count is actually even at this point, but look at the gold graph: 5,000 in favor of Fnatic, and that's like Fnatic like before they get their big items too, like when they're still slightly weak. If they get like a BKB up on Storm Spirit or even just an Orchid, like what really is EG gonna do right there? They also wasted Song of Siren, still weren't able to take any engagement there. They weren't even able to pick off one hero on that fight, and I don't even remember the last time they got Draco. Or actually, they did get Fly. So they got, what, 1 for 4, and Fear is just not survivable at all. He has 967 HP, leaps, and then just jumps on and then dies.
And Hani, ready to make it happen again. Gonna jump into the jungle, looking for a target. And Universe the closest one, but obviously unable to see him. Mirana did finally finish those drums, so Fear with a little bit of HP gain, but long road to go before he really feels relevant again. And this is, again, totally Fnatic's game to control right now. They have so much reach between the Timber and Hani on the Storm Spirit in particular. And it has to be respected. The Lifestealer is just caught way too far up. We can see he's already got Armlet, Drums, Phase, and they're just going to go into a Roche pit. With Song on cooldown, I don't think they can do anything about this. Like, they have to have Song to be able to engage into them at this point. And with 60 seconds left, this is a free Roche.
Yeah, I mean, EG is just totally out of steam at this point. Pugna, yeah, he has mech completed, but after they already lost a few fights, they can't 5-man anymore just because they don't have any sort of map control. And if Lifestealer just jumps on someone with Honey, they're just instantly going to die. And Arrow connects on Roshan, helping Fnatic out.
Fnatic is just playing amazing Dota. This is the best. To be honest, Fnatic started out very strong, and then had a couple
their
of
draft was just so much better though. Like,
oh yeah,
it left a lot of room for error too, just in case Era if he fell far behind, whatever, they can farm him up. They babysit Hani in mid, so like at least one of those two is going to be able to farm up, because if they dual lane mid, the Fnatic still wins, and if they just single lane top, then Lifesteal will be able to win that out too. So like EG just didn't really have a good game plan. The Bounty Hunter first pick is like nice sometimes if you can play super aggressively, but you can't really play aggressively versus a Lifestealer with a Lich who's always going to have his lane pulled back, and with a Visage who's just going to absolutely dominate you in early engagements.
Here's the immediate rotation, and Fnatic knows they're in the driver's seat. Rotating down. Look at the creep wave, already banging away on the tower. EG has no possible chance to do anything about this. I didn't even see the chat question. I'm going to guess it was which hero has the lowest strength gain in the game. So Enchantress only gains 1 strength per level, lowest of any hero. Now there's a song. Let's see if EG can make something of it. They've got 4 grouped up with Trixie hanging out. Down goes the ward.
Hit a creep while they were slept.
And here we go. Storm Stout blown up. Hani taking some damage. Will end up actually barely surviving, but yeah, EG, it doesn't matter if the arrow had connected. It really wouldn't have mattered at all. Dust is out, fog's gone. And they may even call GG. There's just no way they could fight it anymore. And you
can't hit an arrow on a slept target. Like, oh my gosh, Fear. I mean, he has good other carries, but Potom is just not one of them. They even have setup spells for him. Is the thing too, with Song, with Ensnare, with Frostbite. But man, that is not pretty.
And barring a miracle, Fnatic likely on their way into the playoffs along with Virtus Pro. Evil Geniuses had to have a win in this series to make it in, and looks like they're going to come up short. I mean, obviously still some Dota left to finish, and Tier 3s ain't down yet. But it's, just the draft. And what I was going to say earlier, by the way, and I didn't want to interrupt you because you were making great points about how well they played this game. Just speaking generally across the whole group stage for Fnatic, they started out really strong and then kind of hit some rough spots. They had a few rough series and had been up and down in other tournaments as well. This is the best I've seen Fnatic play in the D2L, probably in the last, 3 or 4 series they have played. This just feels like the Fnatic that came out and had so much success a couple of weeks ago. And good to see them returning to form just in time for the playoffs as well, certainly if you're an EG fan. that's not welcome news, as, again, it looks likely they will be bounced out here today. But Fnatic, one of the teams that was untouched following the TI3 roster shuffle and showing what that can mean. Just so much good communication and movement together, so much good teamwork.
Yeah, and Trixie has just been a beast on Timbersaw too. I'm not exactly sure what you ban out versus Fnatic. A lot of people do like to ban out the Wisp, but I think that is counterable. It's just people just aren't used to playing against Wisp nowadays, so people just get caught out way too often. And I think the Invoker on Honey is also counterable. They just need to be able to fight a little bit better and draft a little bit better. They don't think they really had the well-equipped draft to handle the last game, so I don't know. Era's Lifestealer is always something to worry about, like having a Lich to deal against that secures one lane, and Fear just gets blown up. Oh, no.
Yep. Defensive decrep. Yep. Not too bad. No Tail ends up getting a kill behind it, though. And once again, did he shoot it into the Familiars? I think he did. I heard him fire the arrow. Didn't see what it hit. And the Familiars are going to get a stun onto Storm Stout. And Fnatic continuing to pursue this out. They're getting into range on all angles now. Down goes the Pugna Ward as it's picked off, and Haunting Timber chains in, makes a mega kill streak materialize. 21-6, and EG basically holding on principle at this point. Certainly wouldn't expect them to bow out, but you look at the kills, you look at the net worth. It is all Fnatic all the time right now. One of only 2 outer tier towers remaining will drop at 25 minutes. And I think Fnatic's just going to push for a tier 3, and why the hell not? You've got a Timbersaw with 12 stacks on his Bloodstone and an Aegis.
Yeah, they should. Like, Trixie can just run in there and do whatever he wants.
Jo going to go ahead and sleep. Sleep and gather the troops. There's an arrow. Will connect on the Hani.
He hit one.
And Universe going to end up dropping the freezing field, not doing nearly the damage he would have liked it to. With Fear dropping there, don't think he has buyback. The Aegis is yet to even be popped.
I also don't know why they gave the Aegis to Timbersaw. Like, he already has a Bloodstone.
Yeah. And at this point, he probably wouldn't mind just having it popped, and it will be popped. Roshan back up in 3.5 minutes. They lost their Storm there, obviously. And it looks like they're just going to wait on the creep wave to go back in. He actually just picked up a Veil as well. So magic damage output going to continue to be very, very high for them. EG has rallied, though. 10 seconds until Fear's back up, so they might hang in a little bit longer.
Yeah, it just seems like they're delaying the inevitable at this point, though.
Yep.
The gold grab, about 14,000 in favor of Fnatic right now. They have complete map control with the Lifestealer Bomb. They can do Roshan when it respawns, and EG, yeah, you can smoke, but who are you actually going to kill? Like, No Tail has 1,300 HP as well as 29 armor, and a lot of magic resist with this Gravekeeper's Cloak. They're just, like, there's an arrow that connects on Trixie, but they can't kill Trixie either.
Jo engaged upon Spency and Snare. He's going to be blown up, though. And Fear has to leap away once again. And poor Fear, as you mentioned, has had trouble on those arrows. The only reason that arrow hit, by the way, is Trixie Timber chained into it. Universe trying to make a run for it. Pops the drum charge. And there's a Timber chain to the high ground. Open wounds is there. Do they have detection? Nope, they're fine. Able to bring him down again. Universe not having the same effectiveness.
They have a gem on Timbersaw and a Veil.
Yeah, the Veil was done just a moment or two ago.
He is stacked.
Yeah. His net worth at 12.
Like right now, he can just like suicide if his team's about to die and just BOT, and he has instant revive at this point.
Yep. Fear being pursued out now. They're going to go ahead and grab the creep wave here and bring down this last remaining outer tier tower. Fear can do nothing. Doesn't have a TP again. Poor Fear. He's had an up and down day. We've seen some good plays and seen some bad ones. And they're ready to crack the tier 3s in any lane now as that last remaining outer tier tower drops. And 7-24. Any hope for EG, Ben, before we see our last fight likely take place? No, just not. None. Zero. Big
I don't like to be pessimistic, but in all honesty, there is like no way they can take a fight. Not with this lineup. Not with Pugna without that much magical burst. Not with the Potem who doesn't even have Manta yet. No physical damage. No ability to hit arrows without massive setup. Bounty Hunter without BKB. They just really can't do anything at this point.
Well, this is what we see very often happen. We're going to see Hani go ahead and lock and load as he takes on our Lifestealer. There's the jump right on to Jo. Down he goes, so no song to even rely on, and that should be that.
He decrept the wrong target.
And tier 3 being accosted and turned to a shambles. But we see this time and time again with the Mirana pick. You have got to play a Mirana, especially from the carry position, just a certain way. Era actually played it fairly well in game 1, but even then it still came up short. And just not getting anywhere near what they have to out of that hero. I don't like Mirana as a carry at all. She's going to be played, I like her as a support or as a mid.
I do like her as a carry in some situations if you have a lot of kill potential. But with the early life stealer pick, they don't have any kill potential on them.
And Jo just getting blown up through Song. Era did get ensnared, but he's just so far ahead he doesn't care. He's being life drained very well, so they might be able to get him, and they do. Jo drops once again, though, and here comes the rest of Fnatic washing across the racks. And decent ward placement. A lot of damage being eaten by Fnatic, but they do bring down the melee racks, and Fear buying back. Might try to charge this out and try to get maybe a couple of pickoff kills. There's a track, there's a Chain Frost. That's going to get a couple of bounces. But MSS picked off once again by Trixie's Timbersaw. And just as we cross 30 minutes, would imagine the GGs are on the way. Nearly 20,000 gold and around 25,000 experience, the lead that Fnatic has generated. But you know what? EG might just hang in and make him close it out. Why not? It's your last appearance here in the D2L.
Yeah, Fnatic just take Roshan out, wait for Lifesteal to come back up, and then just barrel down mid. They have just way too many items. They're just way out leveling them at this point, and just completely out drafted. I think is like 75% of this game, and then 25% is just they didn't really get that much out of the laning phase. They like kind of shut down Era, but he still got 11-minute phase drums, which is not bad by any means. And then they got like an early track kill on Honey, but that was only because he like overextended, not because like they hit some like 6 setup or something like that. But again, good rotation out of the universe early. I think that EG needs to widen their pool of supports a little bit too. Like they rely Crystal Maiden a lot, which is nice for early aggression. But if you don't get kills early, like Crystal Maiden is not a good comeback hero.
I'll tell you, it's hard to even pinpoint exactly where things went wrong. I mean, EG just took a couple of bad fights, and they got away from them because they don't have a lineup that really has, as you said, any comeback potential from the Mirana or the Crystal Maiden. I mean, think about how well things went early. Arrow was zoned completely off of CS for 2 straight minutes. For a while there, he was running at less than half the CS of Fear's carry Mirana. So he was in great shape. The Bounty Hunter did well. He hit a quick level 6 and got an early track kill for First Blood. I mean, everything seemed to be going well for EG. But, again, just the draft composition itself. I mean, yes, there wasn't the best play out of MSS in mid, or more to the point, he just faced a lot of trouble. Fnatic did a really nice job of making sure he didn't feel relevant. The mechanism came out a little bit late, but it all started and ended down here in this bottom lane. Had 3 straight engagements that all favored Fnatic. And with Fear unable to really contribute or get anything out of those at all, the track kills were coming very slowly, if they came at all. And Fnatic just had a much more well-rounded lineup that was going to be able to play a variety of ways. They could team fight early, they could just maintain status quo early, or they could just respond early. They have a lot of reach in the Timber and the Storm Spirit picks, and really, that's just good drafting. As you said, that's just versatile drafting that allowed them to respond to what EG showed them, and they ran away with it in the first 15. And a brief pause still underway, as it seems that they're, actually was kind of reading it, Fly has a bug, so he'll be reconnecting momentarily. Once again, this is our final game of this series, the final series here in the D2L Western Division. And Fnatic looking like they're ready to go ahead and seal the deal and punch their ticket, as well as Virtus Pros, into the playoffs. Fnatic obviously already in the playoffs one way or the other. But with this win over EG, Evil Geniuses shut out, and Virtus Pro will be joining as the 5th seed, while Fnatic will hold on to their 4th place seeding and play in that first match against VP, assuming, by the way, that there isn't some sort of a miracle that gets EG back into this. And we see the Aegis drops, of course, picked up right before. And then once again, nope, never mind. I thought they gave the Trixie this time, going to Era as he's locked and loaded. No, actually put it on Hani. And, there was MSS back there. They're just going to jump right past him and pick Fear off for free. MSS TP's away as soon as he saw it. And this should about be that here, Merlini.
Yeah, it's very close to being able to close out. Timbersaw has his heart too if he wants to pick that up. I mean, we're looking at like a 3,000 HP Timbersaw 30 minutes into the game with 19 Bloodstone charges.
Yeah, and boots of travel, so he can come back in as soon as he wants. He's going to go ahead and initiate uphill. The Pugna Ward, focus fired by the Visage Familiars. Another blast off the mark. Once again, a jump from Hani. Hani eats a lot of damage there, though. And Song of the Siren at least allows them to reset for one last engagement. 20 seconds until Fear's back up. Jo now locked down by the Visage Familiars are going to kill off Universe immediately. Jo's next on the list. The Aegis is Pop, but I doubt that's something he's going to mind. Ready to come back up firing. Era cutting off the path of retreat. And we hear another jump up at top as Hani and Trixie managed to bring down Fogged. And here we go. This should about be that. This is the second set of racks. And it was actually funny, by the way. Era was running defense, was running back and forth in front of the well, and not allowing anyone to retreat. MSS trying to make a run for it, silenced, and now caught out, blown up. Buyback from him. They're going to fight to the bitter end, my friend. This mid racks, though, down to about half health, the melee racks. And Fear's back up. Let's see what he can do, if anything. Now they're just fountain camping. Trixie does not care at all.
Oh, he might die here. Suicide.
Hey, hit an arrow. And they actually got 1,200 gold out of that. No, it was an allied hero denial, so he did manage to get it off. Jo brought down, and Timber back up in 5 seconds. EG fighting for every last inch of territory. The racks in the meantime has been hollowed out, but they're not giving up. They're going to jump back out. And they actually use their Moonlight Shadow. Here we go. MSS continues to eat damage. Trixie sitting on 3,000 health after finishing his heart, so he is essentially indestructible. And even if he was, still has a lot of Bloodstone charges. But the last rack's on its way down. Fear trying to dart around, has Arrow up in 5. Basher done on Era. In the meantime, Trixie locked down. Just look, he just doesn't care. He's shrugging off every little bit of damage done to him.
He's so tanky right now. So very unfortunate for EG that they managed to drop 2 in a row, but they really do need to work on the drafting abilities. I don't actually know who drafts for them. I suspect that it's Fear.
It was Jo this game. I actually know that from behind the scenes.
Yeah, so yeah, their second and third game drafts were just very, very lackluster, and Fnatic just totally outdrafted them, outlaned them, and definitely outplayed them in the first 15 minutes too. So very nice to play by Fnatic. We may see them return back into form. I still say they're like a little bit below Liquid in terms of skill, but looks like they are back up on the rise, and they've been in a little bit of a slump lately. Nice to see them back in form though.
GG Cold. And EG's run here in the HyperX D2L comes to an end. Fnatic finishing strong, propelling themselves, or securing themselves, I should say, that 4th seed in our bubble race playoffs. They will be meeting with Virtus Pro, and there are some very happy guys sitting on the other side of the world right now. They have a chance to play their way to Vegas, and to do so, they're going to have to go through our full playoff squad, though, and now officially all the seeds are set. Alliance Direct qualifies. There are grand finals in Las Vegas coming up in January. Behind them, Team Liquid will be our 2nd seed. They'll be at the top of the bubble race playoffs, and I'll explain that before closing out the broadcast here today. 3rd seed will be Na'Vi. 4th will be Fnatic, and 5th will be Virtus Pro. So a unfortunate loss for EG, but Fnatic ending on a very high note. And look at the play across the board. 10-2 on No Tail's Visage, looking very sharp. 9-2 on Fly's Lich. That's actually probably more notable. It's tough to keep a Lich alive that much. He tends to get focused down, and when he did die even, almost always got off his full range of abilities. Era's a Lifestealer bounced back admirably after being denied CS for a full 2 minutes to begin. Timbersaw, 9-3 and 15, just gigantic for Trixie as he ends at level 18. Compare that to level 13 for Mirana for Fear, which was the highest level on the other side. And Haunting on the Storm, even though, I mean, he wasn't making quite as much noise as Timber was, he played extremely well as well. And any final thoughts on the series before we get ready to throw it to the front for the goodbyes and such, Ben? I mean, I feel like EG has made major strides since moving Fear back to the carry, but they still just occasionally have these hiccup moments where they are unable to execute. Their drafts may be a little wonky, and that's kind of how it felt here in Game 3.
Yeah, it's just a few steps forward and then a couple steps back here and there. They're definitely on their way to becoming a very good team, but still just need to work on some things. Drafting, most notably, I think Mojo needs to expand his hero pool a little bit more too. He's like very good on Timbersaw. He's like okay on Storm Spirit. They really just need a very dominant mid player too, just because their tempo controlling in the mid game is just so poor, especially when Fear likes to play passively and farm up a lot. He's not that good on the aggressive carries such as Mirana, so they still have a little bit of ways to go. I'm still rather impressed on how they develop all throughout the D2L season.
34 minutes, 38 seconds, the official game time, 10-37, the final kill score. And with that, Fnatic and EG finish their schedule, and we finish our entire run here in the group stage of the HyperX D2L. I'm your host here in AC Chambers, joined as always by Ben Merlini Wu. And Ben, my friend, it has been an absolute pleasure working with you throughout this group stage. We're not done, of course. We still have our playoffs coming up in both the East and the West Division in the first couple of weeks of December. And then, of course, our grand finals coming up in Las Vegas at Caesars Palace in January. But for right now, it's been a fun ride, man. You and I have had some interesting days and nights. There's stretches where we had East and West overlapping, and we were doing. And see, what was our record? We did, I want to say 10 best of threes in 36 hours. Then we did 12 best of threes in 48 or something like that a couple of times. Been a lot of fun, though, my friend. And, of course, want you to plug yourself and let the fine folks know where they can get more access to you and your wealth of knowledge and, of course, your insights.
You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook, all/Merlini Dota. Also, you can watch my videos at youtube.com/Merlini Dota. And last but not least, Twitch, also by the same handle. Thanks again, ASC, for a fantastic regular season. Looking forward to the playoffs.
Been my absolute pleasure, my friend, and I know the fans and the viewers have enjoyed you just as much as I have. At Merlini Dota, guys, seriously, go follow him. He's an excellent person, works with us, works with various other studios. He'll be at MLG coming up very, very soon, and wouldn't want to miss that. And you can also find me as well. I'm at AC, at AYESEE on Twitter. You can find me on Twitch. It's ACTV, AYESEETV. And you can find me under that handle as well on YouTube and Facebook as well. Would love it if you'd hit like on Facebook and check out the videos I have up on YouTube right now. A lot of old casts, a lot of different Q&A sessions and all that. So try to keep that updated as much as I can. Actually, need to get back to doing that. I have a few concepts in mind that I might try to get to work on over the next couple of weeks during our downtime. So looking ahead to the playoffs, we'll go ahead and take a look at our standings now just so we can put things in context. I'm not sure if they're updated. They're not. It's fine. It's we only just imagine one more thing behind it. Obviously, Fnatic with this win goes up to 4-3 and 9 points. That's irrelevant, though. What matters is that Virtus Pro, with the defeat of Evil Geniuses, secures 5th position. So they finished up 3-4 with 6 points. Evil Geniuses finished at 2-5. So they're on the outside looking in, along with Mousesports and Dignitas, who withdrew halfway through our schedule. The final rankings, again, as I mentioned, Alliance in first position. Team Liquid, who really has been the standout story of the Western Group stage here in the D2L. They finished at 6-1 with an upset win over Na'Vi, their lone loss coming to Alliance, of course. Na'Vi finished 5-2, and Fnatic again 4-3, and Virtus Pro at 3-4. Now, the way that a bubble race works is going to be our 4th and 5th seeds are going to face off in one best of 3. That'll be Fnatic and Virtus Pro. Awaiting them will be Na'Vi. So the winner of Fnatic versus Virtus Pro moves on to play Na'Vi in another best of 3. Then you move further up the chain to Team Liquid, who sits in 2nd position. That match will be Team Liquid taking on the winner of Na'Vi versus either Fnatic or Virtus Pro. That'll be a best of 5, and that will determine who joins Alliance out of the Western Division, heading to Las Vegas coming up in January. So a lot to watch for that. Don't forget, we also have the East as well. So we're going to have the bubble race playoffs on the West and the East side, and both really looking quite amazing. It was Alliance and LGD China who have direct qualified and will not have to play through our playoffs at all. Once again, guys, it has been my absolute pleasure having you here throughout the entire season so far. It's actually been fairly condensed. We packed a lot of content into the last month or so, and we do that, of course, to serve you guys. We've kind of been listening to viewer feedback. You guys tend to like it more condensed And every match to matter. That's why we expanded to 2 divisions instead of having each team play each other twice, or maybe you had some best of 3s early and some best of 3s late that didn't matter that much. And it's worked out. Coming down the line on both final days for the East and the West, we had a match that was at least determining seeding, and in the case of the West, as we saw here today, determining the playoff fate of a team entirely. So hopefully we'll be sticking with this format, but of course we're always open to suggestions, so please tweet at me, tweet it at D2LGG. Let us know how you've enjoyed the group stage so far and what we can do to improve looking forward to the future. Again, we'll be back with our bubble race playoffs coming up the 1st and 2nd week of December. We're still actually playing along with the dates. There might be a little conflict with some Asian events going on, but you can count on it happening, say, in the first 10 days of December, no doubt about it. Don't forget to catch, and obviously most of you already know this, but for those who are new, maybe this is your first stream you've ever watched, 2 big events coming up over the next 2 weeks. MLG Columbus, huge Dota event. Our good friend Merlini will be there, so make sure you catch him there, as well as the BTS guys and all the great coverage I'm sure will be coming out of there. And DreamHack coming up not long after that as well. So this will probably be the last time I see you on camera for anything D2L related, at least for the next couple of weeks. So all of my American brothers and sisters want to say happy Thanksgiving looking ahead, and hope everyone again has enjoyed the show. So for now, signing off until our playoffs kick off coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm AC. Merlini on his behalf, of course, Conrad, our producer, who works just as hard as anyone you've ever met in the entire industry, sitting behind his big wall of monitors. From all of us, thank you guys so much for making the group stage such a success. And until we see you again, enjoy your evening, morning, or afternoon, and enjoy some Dota.